Good afternoon, Ripsur. Here's our new technologies and different recipe to share with us, and certain work process as well. And as we work very closely, that in Phnom Penh we have Cambodia Chef Federations, and also our dear friends Chef Vinsan from Siem Reap, from the Cambodia Chef Associations, and he based in Siem Reap as a vice president as well. I'm very happy to see the last weekend as different competitions, cuisinery, and I like to give a big applaud to Camboyana, was one of the gold medals. So it was one of the gold medals for cuisinery young teams, and very happy to see different team coming up as well. We see that is a good Cambodia Restaurant Association to prepare this. Even the program is smaller, but then it will be good for us to have a chance for all the young chef to be part of it. Excuse me to speak in Khmer for our few dear chef as well.
Good afternoon, fellow chefs. Excuse me if I speak in Cambodian. So today, That's my Cambodian. Fellow chefs from CCF, from CCAA, Mr. Ng of LSH and Chef Dixon. Hello chef, ladies and gentlemen. It is from where I'm from. I'm not Thai, but I have been living there for 23 years now, so Sawadee Khap. I think we share a lot of same culture in Indochina. Thank you very much. I know today is your holiday and you've taken time off to be with us this afternoon. I'm also rushing off to catch a plane. This is a sharing session. I spend about half of my time around the world and very fortunate to meet a lot of fellow chefs like us in the same industries with a lot of very, very exciting times these days, because I think this past 20 years, the culinary world has changed tremendously and we have a lot of new exciting things coming, and what has made it even faster is because of YouTube and internet. And a lot of things that a lot of the old recipes to us, or to me, there is no recipe that cannot be improved. And the world is getting smaller and there's more exciting things coming up. The field theme for today, you probably have read some of the things that I have with you. I will go through a little bit by bit with them. As I said, this is a sharing session, so the most stupid question is a question not asked. So if you have anything, please share with me, because I would like to share some with you also. In front of you, there are two things that I like to talk about today: the innovative ideas for what we face, the issues that we face. Part of my business is I have a chain of restaurants in 21, 22 countries, and for us, cooking great food is really not that difficult. Cooking great food consistently and selling it at the price that we want it to be sold at the quantity that we want it to be sold, during the time that we want it to be sold, that's the big challenge, because eventually it is a business. So the things that I've always said that what tastes well and what sells well and what is profitable are three different things. It's easy to make good things because if you put the raw material in there, very expensive raw material, I've always said raw material is 50% of the recipe and 35% is the chef and 15% is the equipment. If you can do that, you can make good food. So the business part is eventually where I like to bring us to. Hotels, I think, can I see a show of hands of how many hotel chefs here? Don't be shy, you have to tell me who you are so I can address the issues here. Okay, thank you. One of the things for me is breakfast. Breakfast innovative ideas. It's ideas that I have seen and learned from different parts of the world. Some of them I came up on my own and to share with you. Breakfast is a meal that we have everybody eating because it's ABF inclusive already. And for us, F&B department, it is the most difficult meal to hit our budget because everybody eats breakfast in the hotel. They don't eat lunch, they don't eat dinner, but breakfast in the hotel. Okay, so a few things that I'd like to share with you, some ideas about breakfast and about buffets, which is the most challenging for us because it's feeding frenzy and a lot of people, everybody comes and everybody wants to eat. And they want speed, they want quality, and they want it not too expensive. But I will first touch on wasabi first because the evening today is about wasabi, one of the first things. Okay, you will see in front of you there were two little sauces. Okay, can you tell which one is the real wasabi? Please play around it with your fork a little bit, because on the right hand side is the one that is a little bit lighter color, and on the right hand side is the one that is a little bit darker color. These are the top 5 most popular foods around the world these days. The trend of hotels, we do about 7 meals a day. right? Breakfast, lunch, dinner, morning coffee break, afternoon coffee break. We do room service and we do banqueting. What is the last thing we do? We check our smartphone. So these days, you don't even have to have an office to start a business, right? You can register your company in iCloud. Now, so what does it mean? It means the lifestyle of people around the world is changing because you don't need to, down the road, people will need to go to the office less and less, yeah? Now, so when they wake up, they start working. So it is menus that chefs are coming up with around the world are little things that if you take one portion, it is a snack, and if you take two portions, it is a meal. So snack is big, right? The wasabi that is in front of you, okay. Wasabi was discovered, historically recorded. It was historically recorded that it was discovered in Japan over 1,000 years ago. But in reality, it was probably used as a condiment about 350 years ago. It was used primarily during the Edo period, was the time that the Japanese really started eating sashimi. Because Japanese, before that, over 1,000 years ago, was a vegetarian nation. Now sashimi at that time, 300, 400 years ago, there was no refrigeration. So in actuality, is after taking raw fish, sometimes you get bad stomach. Somebody discovered that wasabi is a natural antidote. If you see a plate of sashimi, right? In a plate of sashimi, there are two greens. There are two green things on it. One is the sashimi, and the other one is the shiso, the leaf, right? Or sometimes called oba. Those two leaves, that leaf there has got antibacterial properties. So really, wasabi was discovered not because it's being used as a to accompany sashimi, not because of its pungency effect, but really because of its antibacterial properties. This was about 350 years ago. Now, what is in front of you on the left-hand side is the darker wasabi is made of the powdered wasabi. And the right-hand side, it is the wasabi that is grated from the root. Now, what is the difference? Powdered wasabi, all powdered wasabi in the world has got zero wasabi in it. No wasabi at all. There are three kinds of plants in the world commercially that gives you pungency. One is wasabi, two is mustard, and three is horseradish. But only real wasabi contains antibacterial properties. So in Japan, it is used as a medicine, it is used as a cosmetic also, besides accompanying food. The correct way to enjoy wasabi, really. Now I'll give you this tip because, number one, the world, more than 90% of the wasabi in the world today is powdered wasabi. Is used as powdered wasabi. And all powdered wasabi has got zero wasabi. No wasabi at all. It is either mustard or horseradish, added flour and coloring. And if you use the one that is lighter color, the lighter color one, the real wasabi is not so green. The lighter color one, if you feel it, then you can see the fibrous content like it is created from a root. Now if you taste it, now don't get confused. The stronger doesn't mean better. Real wasabi has got a very nice, fragrant and fresh. How do you normally eat your sashimi? I will tell you this from a connoisseur's, from a consumer perspective, and I will tell you also from the user, which is the restaurant's perspective. From the consumer perspective, how do we normally use wasabi? And then we take our sashimi and we dip into that mix and we eat it. Okay, that is the wrong way of eating, and that is the wrong way of enjoying sashimi. And it is also a very wasteful way of eating wasabi. If you really want to enjoy real wasabi, what you would do is you will take a little bit of wasabi, put it on the piece of meat, sashimi. Okay, now there is an explanation behind it. We will be bringing out some sashimi, some king crab for you to try. Real wasabi is not stable in room temperature. So this is room temperature, ambient temperature. What does it mean? Wasabi, after grating, within 24 hours, the pungency and the medicinal value will drop to 0. So, wasabi don't like heat. Now for you chefs out there, if you are cooking, because I have my French chef friends who've been baking their pastries with wasabi for 20 years, they are very confused because he says, "Chef, I cook, sometimes my wasabi got, sometimes don't have." I say, because wasabi don't like heat. Wasabi don't like heat. So what you normally do, you see, it is the wrong way of doing it, because if you mix your powdered wasabi, powdered rehydrated wasabi in soy sauce, if you mix it like that, 1, right? 2, have you ever noticed, if you are a restaurant owner and you are managing your kitchen or whatever, the wasabi, after every meal, there is a lot of wasabi in the soy sauce that is being thrown away. So actually, your food cost goes up, not because customer eats a lot of wasabi, but because most of the wasabi is being thrown away. We get our chef, we mix the powder. Number 1, you're using the wrong wasabi. You mix it with water, right? You serve it for lunch. And by the time at 2 o'clock, your wasabi that is left over, what do? You don't throw away, right? You put a wrap and you put it in the refrigerator. And you use it again for dinner time. What happens during dinner time? Your wasabi that was mixed this afternoon is almost gone, right? Not enough. So you mix a new batch of wasabi and you use the new batch of wasabi and you mix it with the old batch of wasabi. What does that happen? Remember we were explaining that within 24 hours the pungency drops to 0. So your first batch of wasabi that you mix during lunchtime is actually at this, okay, this is level here, it starts from here, it's already here. Your second batch has got a pungency of here. You mix 2 things up, you got a pungency somewhere in between. What does that mean? It means your wasabi, every meal that you serve goes up and down. So normally what happens? So the customer always complain. They say, you know, this place, the wasabi is sometimes hot, sometimes not hot. So he takes a lot of wasabi, what does he do? He mixes it with soy sauce. And then for the last piece of sashimi, he dip it one time, he put it in the mouth, that's it. All the soy sauce and all the wasabi throws away. And then your food cost goes up. Now, this is the solution. This is how it's being done in some of the top and growing more and more Japanese restaurants or Japanese food serving places around the world, right? Number 1, if you use the real stuff, people say, but they say, yeah, but real wasabi is so expensive. I will challenge you something. We have done tests with hotels and restaurants around the world. If you use the powdered wasabi, your cost is cheaper, but the amounts that you throw away is more than 80% you throw away. Now, the test that we do is this, but it takes time to change, because this has been, people have been using the artificial or the wrong wasabi for 100 years already. So it's very difficult for people not to mix in the soy sauce. In a lot of 5-star hotels or 4-star hotels, when they start serving the real wasabi, you put a little point of explanation there, questions like, or the restaurants, they put it there. Do you know what real wasabi is? How to use, how to enjoy real wasabi? Because what will happen is the people that switched, or the companies or the chefs that switched from powdered wasabi to real wasabi, what will happen for the first 1, 2, 3 months is your consumption or your cost of wasabi goes even higher. Because now you're using the real wasabi, but your customer is still mixing with soy sauce. Correct? Your sauce goes up. But after 1, 2 months of explaining to them of what real wasabi is and how you should really enjoy real wasabi, then when people start using the correct way, then your consumption will drop. Because you see, when you eat sashimi, How much wasabi do you think you can eat? What is in front of you? The top, the hilt, the body, and the tip has got 3 different flavor profiles. So actually, if you see the top sashimi or sushi chef, when they grate the wasabi, they grate it against a pedal made out of shark skin, because the shark skin is very rough. But how he grates a little bit on the top, a little bit in the middle, a little bit at the bottom. Now, because each will give you a different flavor profile. Now, after you grating the wasabi based on the ratio that you want, then you put the grated wasabi at the bottom of your saucer or a bowl and you cover it over. Why do you do that? Because wasabi's flavor is best developed in an anaerobic condition. In a condition where there is no oxygen, then the flavor profile comes out. Because wasabi oxidizes very, very quickly. So, if I know this is for our fun knowledge. If you enjoy real good sashimi or you enjoy good sushi very well, for different kinds of fish or different kinds of seafood, I would grate my wasabi differently for you. So it could be a little bit sweeter or a little bit more fragrant or a little bit sharper. That is the chef's art. The soy sauce, try putting the little wasabi on the sashimi that you have and dip it separately. And see, because the word that in our connoisseurs world, we call it an implosion of flavors. You let the flavors, you let your wasabi mix with your soy sauce only after it goes into your mouth. So maybe now we all have a little bit better understanding, because wasabi is sometimes called Japanese mustard or Japanese horseradish. No, it is 3 different plants altogether. Wasabi is wasabi, mustard is mustard, horseradish is horseradish. 3 different plants. You see, with internet these days, the consumers are getting smarter. So they sometimes ask when you give them expensive sashimi or the expensive parts of sashimi, and they want to eat it with real wasabi. Wasabi for the past 3-4 years have been one of the most exciting condiments for all the chefs during chef competition, etc., etc. So this is fun because it is coming. The trend of Japanese food is growing. Therefore, the knowledge of wasabi is growing. People will ask for real wasabi. When you sell wasabi, a lot of restaurants around the world, it is okay to sell wasabi and not just give it away. Is your incremental food cost goes up like 10 cents and you can sell it extra for 50 cents. Now we all know that food cost and ingredient cost is a little bit different. When our purchasing is looking at this, the purchasing is looking at the ingredient cost. But while we are looking at the food cost here, because wastage is a very big factor in our kitchen. How is our hotels and our restaurants a little bit different from the QSRs, like the quick service restaurants, for example? Because the QSR has something, the McDonald's of the likes around the world, they have something of 100 kilo of raw material in, 100 kilos of finished product out. And that is zero wastage. Because for us, in our kitchens, for example, when we say our food cost is 35%, for example, my challenge always is how much of the 35% is sold and how much is thrown away. Because technically speaking, I'm going to get a little bit technical here for people, for the restaurant management part. Our restaurant's net profit before taxes, our net profit, if you can do consistently every month, maybe 10%, 11%, you are doing absolutely well. Okay, the drink in front of you is a patented concoction that it's about 10 years old now. It's called Wasabi Tsunami. Just like Tabasco invented a drink called Bloody Mary, this is a drink with wasabi in it. It is called Wasabi Tsunami. The thing that it is vodka based, so enjoy it. Okay. Any questions? Do I have any questions about what is wasabi? How do you use wasabi? How to efficiently use wasabi? These days, some interesting menus like wasabi fried rice is coming on board. Also, is coming into the market. But remember, wasabi don't like heat. So whatever you do, if you want to play with real wasabi, wait until before you serve. Then you add on the dash of wasabi or the dollop of wasabi, and it goes out. So if you do your wasabi fried rice, for example, your wasabi goes last, twice, serve. You don't go your wasabi in any. After 4 or 5 seconds, everything is gone. Frozen wasabi in the frozen form, will last you up to 2 years. Frozen form. If you put it in a chilled form, it will be anywhere from 3 to 4 months. It's not looking for cheap things. Customer is looking for value for money. The challenge for us consistently is if we can create value for money in the minds of the customer, then it is not expensive. The moment that they feel it is not value for money, it becomes expensive. That's what we strive for. Okay, now let's move on a little bit here. We think about how did what did Starbucks do to coffee? Starbucks added a little extra thing into the selling of coffee. Starbucks added aroma. One of the success stories of Starbucks is because, now I'm not here to argue with you if Starbucks a good coffee or a bad coffee. I'm here only to share with you that Starbucks was very successful as a business. Many years ago when I was in my kitchen, I'm still in my kitchen, not so often anymore. But many years ago, I had this dream. Because when I have to make kosong, and I have to make tatatang, and I have to make empanadas, and I have to use phyllo pastries, and I have to make beef Wellington. I like doing all of that, but every time the dough requires a different kind of treatment. So 10 over years ago, I had a dream. If I can find a dough that can do everything, it was a crazy dream. But I started taking all the doughs, the phyllo pastry and the puff pastry and the choux pastries and all the different kinds of the pizza pastries and the Mexican empanadas or whatever pastry. I wrote down all the formula and I tried to reverse engineer them. And I look at the temperature when it is being cooked. I looked at if it is being direct contact with heat, or it is oven baked, or it is deep fry, or it is being fried. And I asked myself, can I get something that can do everything? So, what we have for you today here is a little crazy invention of mine that cannot do everything but can do 90% of the things. To make a croissant, there's some pastry chef here, about 55% butter or fat content, right? The difference really in all the doughs that you have is the fat content that is different. I challenge myself, and I challenge a lot of my chef friends, why are this pastry with such high fat content? Because high fat also means high rancidity, goes bad quicker. So I will share something with all my fellow colleague chefs here. I found a point that you can get a dough to function. You can roast your dough, you can deep fry your dough, you can pan fry your dough, and you can bake your dough at, I'm sharing this with you, at about 23% fat content. So that hippo piece of dough that you have is at about that fat content. When you walked in here, the reason I said aroma there was you had a little piece of wedge, of a sandwich wedge there. That is made from our hippo dough. It's a very special dough that today, if you like as a dessert, you can your eclair or profiterole or your tatatang or your beef Wellington with the same kind of dough. My chef friends is looking at me and it's like, are you sure? I've seen that face many parts around the world. No way, I am gonna challenge the classics. But anyway, try it. One of the breakfast menus that we did, I introduced this dish in Paris about 8 years ago. I call it Pondicherry Croque Madame. Now, Croque Madame, you probably know Croque Madame is a classic French dish. It's only a ham and cheese sandwich, well, with egg. So this one, for a breakfast dish, for example, now, I was told to touch a little bit about breakfast ideas. Breakfast, people eat a lot of things, and they eat, and then we have, as chefs, we have, you know, what does consumers like, or what does customers like? They like a action station. Let's see what happens. But this is a breakfast dish that is being used more and more in hotels around the world, because there's a lot of wastage for breakfast. This piece of dough is about 60 grams. Okay? When she finishes that with you, the condiment with one egg, you're using the egg for your egg station anyway. That egg is about 50 grams, 110 grams. With your condiments of your ham or your capsicum or tomatoes or whatever, you then throw in another 50 grams. With another cheeses or something that we put on it, it's going to be 170 and 180 grams. Feed our customers with about 180 grams worth of breakfast, and they won't eat anything else. Test it out. See how she does it with it? It's very simple. We toss the pastry into there. As we cook on one side, the egg is broken there. We just see, the thing is, when the customers are asking for whatever kind of eggs that they're looking for on a pan, the extra question that the chef will ask is with or without butter. And then with that, an extra couple of minutes, and we see what we will get. It is almost like a pizza concept. It is almost like an enchilada concept. To try it. Any questions here, please go ahead and ask.
ពេលដែល chef ពយល់មិនថាយើងឃើញតាំងពីជាដូរមួយមិនដូរ croissant ក៏មិនដូរអីផ្សេងប៉ុន្តែអានេះជាដូរមួយ frozen ហើយយើងឃើញថានេះយើងអាចជំនួសបាន5 6មុខយើងដូរក៏មិនទាក៏មិនបារាំងប៉ុន្តែយើងអាចធ្វើអានេះរបៀបដែល chef បង្ហាញការដែលយើងនៅ breakfast អាហារពេល buffet របស់យើងអាច serve ភ្ញៀវតាមយើងឃើញថាមានពងមាន់មាន cheese ហើយយើងដាក់ចូលហើយអ្វីដែលយើងឃើញតិចទៀតក៏នៅខាង kitchen
It's all right, it happens to all of us.
ហើយយើងតិចនឹងយើងបានភ្លក់គ្រប់គ្នាដែរពីជាខាងជាងបានដែរបាទ
Now, one of the beauty about this dough, you can do it again, it's all right. The old chef, they'll understand. One of the beauty about this dough is it can go through 3 freeze-thaw cycle. Now, we all know when you, after thawing something in a frozen form, you don't refreeze it again. One of the things I wanted this many years ago was because I was very tired of making different doughs for different recipes, number one. Number two, I was very tired of the problems after thawing something, I cannot refreeze it. This dough will allow you to go through 3 freeze-thaw cycle. Think about it if we are managing our kitchen. You know what that means? That means lower wastage. If you do forget something, you can refreeze this thing again. So when you use it only when you need it, I have some recipes of a Mexican fried ice cream using this one. I can share with you later if you like. But these are the things that made to order. So if I do something, the question normally is, there is a flight delay. A whole bus of tourists comes in at 9:30. My kitchen crew have all gone home. There's only 2 of us. I need to feed 40 people in 10 minutes. What do you do? Now these are the things that we face every week, or hopefully not so often. When some things like this happens, what do you do? Because if you look at some of the modern hotels these days, what are the modern hotels these days? When I say modern, what does it mean? It's not about boutique, it's not about green, it's not about economic, it's not about green economy. The new hotels these days, they only have 1 or 2 F&B outlets.
អ្វីដែល chef បញ្យល់ថាការប្រើដូរនេះមានការល្អសម្រាប់ទូទៅដោយយើងធ្លាប់ប្រើដូរ croissant ដូរ freezer racing តែយើងយកចេញមកប្រើយើងមិនអាចយកទៅ class A វិញទេពេលយើងប្រើសល់ឬក៏យើងភ្លេចឬក៏យើងត្រូវការប្រញាប់អីបន្ដូរនេះគាត់អាចយកទៅ class A 2 ដងដល់3ដងបាន
Because the space, we all know that running a hotel where we make the most money by selling the rooms.
យើងដឹងថាស្ថានភាពភាគច្រើនការចំណេញភាគច្រើននៅខាងបន្ទប់ហ្នឹង
Selling rooms is easier, it's more profitable than selling drinks.
តែពេលយើងលក់បន្ទប់ការស្ថានភាពចំណេញលុយជាងមានន័យថាភាពត្រជាក់ឬក៏ម្ហូប
Selling food, selling drinks is more profitable than selling food.
បន្ទាប់ពីបន្ទប់ការយើងលក់ទឹកឬក៏ភាពត្រជាក់អីយើងចំណេញលើសម្ហូបទៀតព្រោះម្ហូបយើងត្រូវការចំណាយផ្សេង
So the biggest challenge actually, we as chefs, we are stuck with food. So food is actually the most difficult part to sell. Think about it.
ប៉ុន្តែពេលយើងដឹងថាការយើងធ្វើម្ហូបជាការពិបាកហើយការចំណេញក៏ពិបាកដែរអញ្ចឹងយើងធ្វើយើងពិបាកដែរព្រោះស្ថានភាពគាត់សម្រុកទៅខាងបន្ទប់ចំណេញជាងពេលជាហើយពេលជាល្អជាងម្ហូបត្រូវការពិបាកធ្វើពិបាកអីដែរ
You see a lot of international chains these days, they could be a 300-room hotel and they only have 1 restaurant.
ឥឡូវដែរយើងឃើញថាជាកាយ5ធំបន្ទប់មាន300បន្ទប់ប៉ុន្តែ restaurant យ៉ាងច្រើន1ឬក៏2ទេ
Because you use that space to make it into rooms and you sell the rooms and you make more money. And you rather have a F&B outlet that is open 24 hours. And everybody eats there, breakfast, lunch, dinner, everything is there.
ពេលយើងឃើញថា restaurant ការចំណេញលុយពិបាកជាងខាងបន្ទប់អញ្ចឹងការយើង chef ចង់បញ្យល់មួយថ្ងៃជួនកាល restaurant គាត់ចំណេញលុយម្ហូបពិបាកជាងបន្ទប់អញ្ចឹងគេធ្វើការទីតាំងត្រូវបង្កើនបន្ទប់ច្រើនជាងបង្កើន restaurant
After flipping that pizza or dough around, she is sprinkling it with we use Colby here, you can use cheddar or whatever your market likes, whatever you think your price point is right.
យើងឃើញដូរនេះដូចរបៀប pizza អញ្ចឹងយើងឃើញថាយើងគាត់ដាក់បន្លែមីនៅលើ
The dough, okay, while she's melting the cheese, the little piece of dough that you had just now while you were coming in, it uses the same dough as this piece of dough.
អ្វីដែលពេលយើងចូលមកពេលយើងចោះឈ្មោះនៅខាងមុខហ្នឹងយើងមាន3ជ្រុងនំមួយ3ជ្រុងហ្នឹងដូរហ្នឹងដូចគ្នាទេហើយជាមួយអ្វីដែលគាត់បង្ហាញហ្នឹងដូរតែមួយទេ
Contact, you take that piece of sandwich out in the frozen form and you put it on the contact toaster and you close it and you wait for 2.5 minutes and then it's done.
ដោយអ្វីដែលគាត់ដាក់ចូលម៉ាស៊ីនគៀបមិញដែរយើងដាក់ដូរកកពីទូកកចេញមកយើងដាក់ទៅលើម៉ាស៊ីនគៀបហ្នឹងតែ2នាទីកន្លះទេយើងចាំបានចាប់អិនបានសាំងវិញ
So you have these days, it's just a little bit of more value addedness because something that is caramelized, that is heated up, has got a nice fragrance and a nice aroma to it.
អ្វីដែលយើងមើលយើងឆ្នៃយើងមើលចុងភៅយើងអាចថាខានគ្រឿងអ្វីដែលយើងចូលចិត្តមើលទៅថាយើងបង្កើត recipe ល្អជាងហ្នឹងរសជាតិក្លិនល្អជាងហ្នឹង
During the break, a little bit, you can always go out in that end corner over there and see how Hippo is being used with a contact toaster. You can use your salamander too if you like.
quay đây còn thứ ta dân khơi thì tiền dân take a break tích dân take the mưa sang việc kịp năng là việc mấy hay ta dân mặc trọng là việc đẹp chiên năng tế dân ai thư chiên năng còn salamander vào dân nào từ cho kèm để dân mình
Voila, it's done.
So we call it Coke Madam.
I call it a Pondicherry Coke Madam because it is used a little bit. You see, the Asians like to pan fry and deep fry while the Europeans like to bake. And this thing does a combination of both. Why Pondicherry was the first port that the French took in Asia on their quest for the spice journey. And this uses a little bit of the Indian concept of a roti.
Quay đi dân bờ khơi nơi lượt tập dân đôi kia rồi dân thà nơi hàng mà hô bà rộng và cho chất đốt nó màu mình rồi có giờ đây hay hàng mà hô bà gì giống dân cho chất chiến nó rất ẩm bồn chân khăn nào đang nhà mình tận bì
Is it being served also now?
dân miền cục tộc miền vậy là dân khơi đời dân khơi mà hộp và dân bị lớn thì dân miền mayonnaise để chef không phải dùng
That is what they say, like a roti canai. If you call it a roti canai, you probably cannot sell it for $5.
Và dân hào roti chana đuôi là việc chương trình đi là dân hào và hai việc là lại thu và
We use a wasabi mayonnaise on it. A regular mayonnaise would be a little bit too rich for some people. We use this product is not designed as a Japanese product, but it has got an international flavor. Because it's just a little bit sharp enough for the kids to also enjoy it. The concept that I really wanted to share with all of us today is not so much the recipe, it is that we can add value on to our breakfast. A minimal incremental cost in our breakfast. They can make our customers happy at a very little cost. For me, if we think as a chef, what do we do is need to make our customers happy, we need to control our costs, and we need to make money also. So how do you balance all of this? Making good food is it's not that difficult, like I say. But if you can sell it at the volume, at the price that you want it to be sold, because we face many kinds of restrictions. So all our hotels, normally now you can take this concept and duplicate in many areas of application. It could be a suite, it could be a savory. The point is, we all have an action station. You create an action station. You have something that is, you're already doing it, either an egg station or whatever. You add incremental value, minimal incremental to it, and you add on an incremental value that is a lot higher than your incremental cost. While you are eating and evaluating and thinking, I can see some people thinking about what else can I do or what else can I play with this. The other thing that I like to show you, the second one that Sheppy is going to be making you is a Black Tiger Wellington. I call it a Black Tiger Wellington because it is from the concept of a beef Wellington.
Vậy để dân mơ ta từng ngọt này là World Cup rồi có dân cất mơ thay dân phong thay dân ai bắt cạp mà họ về mây dân năng tiết tại dân phở mà sang nè. Ní dân hào ta Tiger Wellington đôi là việc Seiko Wellington là một hộp ở rộng tại dân khơi chân đấy. Hay ní chè Black Tiger Wellington hay phong là ba hai dân mơ.
One of the biggest challenge in our kitchen, for me, my kitchen is training people. It's finding capable people, training good people, and keeping my things consistent.
Ní để dân khơi làm cà bà bạc và dân bờ riêng trong thờ ហើយនេះជាយើងធ្វើហៅចំភៅដែលយើងអាស្រាបរៀនយើងអានឹងជាការប្រកបនៅជាការគាត់
I want to serve some classics, some more exciting dishes, but sometimes it is too complicated, and if my customers either my customers cannot pay the price, or they don't want to pay the price, or the opportunity cost is too high, or I cannot have the right people in my kitchen to make the kinds of food that I want to make. So the challenge for me, for us in our group, is consistently coming out with something that is intermediate, that we can create a win for my customer, win for my kitchen crew, and win for the owners as well.
អ្វីដែលយើងមើលថាយើងគាត់ឃើញតែគ្រប់គ្នាយើងមើលឃើញថារវល់រឿងបង្កើតម្ហូបថ្មីឬក៏ការជួនកាលយើងឃើញថាម្ហូបថ្មីវាខាថ្លៃសម្រាប់យើងតែសម្រាប់ភ្ញៀវគាត់ពិបាកដែរហើយយើងឃើញថាអានេះជាចំណុចមួយដែលគាត់បង្កើតមើលម្ហូបនឹងតែធ្វើម៉េចឲ្យមានសំណុកហើយគុណភាពអាចដូចគ្នាម្ដង
We have used this with a bigger river prawn, or you can use it with a lobster or whatever. The point about this one is, this is a little bit of a combination of a Japanese style cooking, like a nobashi ebi. Nobashi ebi is a stretched shrimp.
ហើយយើងឃើញជានេះជារសជាតិមួយដែលយើងដូចរបៀបជប៉ុនអញ្ចឹងយើងឃើញតែដូរហ្នឹងហើយក្នុងហ្នឹងមានសាច់ដែរហើយលាយជាមួយប៉ុន្តែនេះជាកូនបកងទូចណាហើយយកបកាមកជំនួសក៏បាន
The point of this is in order not to make, for those of you who is not yet tried certain ways of cooking the shrimp, we sever all the muscles in the stomach so it will remain straight.
យើងឃើញតែពេលយើងធ្វើម្ហូបនេះយើងត្រូវមិនឲ្យបកាតែពេលយើងពុះហ្នឹងឲ្យត្រង់តែពេលយើងជៀនឬក៏យើងដុតហ្នឹងអាចទៅជាមើលទៅវាស្អាត
The shrimp is really beautiful if we break off the tendon at the because the shrimp tail has 4 pieces. If you deep fry it, they will all crumble up together. If you you open up in 4, you break the tendons, or you just deep fry it really fast, it spreads out like a fan and it's very pretty. You can melt some cheese on it and do a gatang. The green sauce on it is the wasabi sauce. Now what is the wasabi sauce? If you taste the wasabi sauce, it is a little bit sour. Now it's scientific because all good food in this world is high fat. So your foie gras or your wagyu or your otoro or everything that is good will neutralize the richness of our food to make our food more palatable.
យើងឃើញម្ហូបទូទៅអ្វីដែលម្ហូបឆ្ងាញ់ល្អវាច្រើនមានខ្លាញ់
Now I think sold in about 30 other countries around the world. When you do steak, a nice piece of sirloin or ribeye or anything with a little bit more high fat, and you dip it with a sauce that has a little bit.
ដោយ Wellington ដែលយើងឃើញថាយើងធ្វើក្លាមទាប៉ុន្តែនៅលើបកានេះយើងឃើញជា wasabi យើងជិះដោយថាតែយើងហៅបន្តិចហើយជួយកាត់បន្ថយខ្លាញ់ហើយក៏
3 years to help.
យើងឃើញថាដប wasabi នេះតែចូលដាក់បាន3ឆ្នាំដែរ
It is a patented temperature.
ពេលយើងចាំតែមិញដំបូងដែល chef ប្រាប់ថា wasabi មិនអាចគុណភាពឡើងចុះទេប៉ុន្តែយើងមានរបៀបធ្វើដែរ
This wasabi it took me 3 years and 25 scientists to stabilize it. So we are actually the only people in the world who knows how to like for your Wellington. Wellington happens to be a very favorite dish that I love, and I think it should be more.
You can just Black Tiger Wellington. អានេះជាការមហោប chef ដែលគាត់ចូលចិត្តហើយអានេះជាយើងអាចមានកំណត់ពិសេស
Yes sir.
In the market, you know how many kind of what's the difference?
In the market temperature, only this one will stay in room temperature for 1 year. Because that's what people don't understand from the scientific point of the wasabi. If you put it in room temperature, the medicinal value goes off.
So wasabi យើងសម្រាប់នារីក៏មានការប្រយោជន៍ណាស់ដែរព្រោះ
Use it to mask the nipples. Huh? Then you get a pink nipple. And if you think and you look at me, it's like, I can tell you, you can go back this evening and you can try it. But I have to tell you this story because I told this a long time ago. I told a lady friend of mine. So she went back to her country, and I gave her half a kilo of wasabi. So a few days later, she calls me, and she says, "You." I say, "What?" She says, "I say 1 part wasabi, 1 part milk." She said, "Yeah, 1 wasabi, 1 part milk." And I say, "Mask, and then 10 minutes, then you wash it off." She says, "Ah." I say, "What happened?" She said, "I fell asleep." So she says, "It's all white now." I say, "Never mind. Take about 1 month, it will come back to its natural color." So that is actually the beauty. It is an antibacterial. It is also a whitening agent. And for chef out there, one of the things to keep our vegetables fresh also, in the water that you're rinsing the vegetables, mix in a spoonful of wasabi, and it will last longer. The reason vegetables or all our fresh produce get bad fast is because of bacteria. So wasabi is a natural antibacterial agent. That's how you keep your fruits and your vegetables fresh also.
យើងឃើញជា wasabi ជាការសំខាន់មួយសម្រាប់យើងឃើញថា
Lou, which story are you telling? Sorry.
talking washing the vegetable
Oh, okay. You're telling the vegetable story first, right? Okay.
green pepper pie
Any stew, hello, yeah. Any stew or whatever. One of the now you will see this one, the power of hippo in the oven.
យើងអាចឃើញ chef មានគាត់យកចានមួយលាបបុកមាន់ជាមួយ
The concept is a pie, a shepherd pie, a kidney pie, a Guinness pie. Actually, she's doing it the traditional way of just putting the pie crust all over it. You could actually just take it in a frozen form and put it on the bowl of your stew, and then
យើងឃើញនៅជួនកាលយើងធ្វើជា stew មួយដាក់ចូលចានអត់ឬក៏យើងធ្វើសាច់នៅក្នុងហ្នឹងហើយយើងគ្រប pastry ពីលើ
Stick it in for about 8 minutes, 220 degrees, and you will have a pie crust.
ប៉ុណ្ណឹងហើយគឺបន្ទាប់ពីមាន stew ហើយយើងគ្របនៅ pastry នឹងហើយយើងដាក់ចូល oven ដុត 228 នាទី ក្នុង recipe ក៏បញ្ជាក់នៅលើហ្នឹងដែរបើសភៅតែយើងអត់យល់យកល្អយើងអាចលើកដៃសួរសំណួរ
A Thai chicken green curry, and we just reduced it.
Green David Pie នេះដោយយើងឃើញថា curry យើងហៅថា kill របស់ថៃហើយយើងអាចធ្វើ curry អីក៏បានដែរប៉ុន្តែយើងថាអានេះជា recipe for green curry
You want to do a fast pie crust? It is actually literally made to order. It's one of the things that we design when we design menus. One of the things that our school does is we have a research and development center where we do menu development work for.
អានេះជា recipe ក្បួនមួយដែលសំណុកសម្រាប់យើងថាយើងឃើញពេលយើងចំអិនឬក៏ចូលតាមអាហារទឹកភូសាយឬក៏នៅខាង catering speedo ហ្នឹងវាល្អ
with no, not that one.
The fresh one.
The one in front of you in a little saucer.
This one.
Yeah. No.
The
Not
white
that.
one.
In the saucer. The fresh, the grated one. Just a spoon of it. Pop it in there.
ពេលដែលយើងលាងបន្លែយើងឃើញ wasabi ខាងស្ដាំដៃ wasabi ស្រស់ហើយណាយើងដាក់សម្បត្តិសភា
If you are familiar with the Japanese cuisine, there we have on the lunch box. This is called obento. In the lunch box, when they stack it up, many layers. Between each layer, they sometimes put a piece of paper, a very thin piece of paper between each layer. Now that thin piece of paper is sprayed with wasabi sauce. Wasabi spray. So what happens is all killed. Therefore, the fruit can last fresher, longer. That's why it's also a natural preservative.
Hello យើងហៅថា preservative មានន័យថា wasabi ក៏មានជា
The ideal solution, and this is really trendy. This is only May this year. The queue starts at 3 o'clock in the morning, and it is going crazy in America. This is going crazy in Europe. It will come, or maybe it has already come in this part of the world.
អ្វីដែលយើងឃើញតាំងឆ្នាំនេះទេខែ5នៅប្រទេសបារាំងឃើញថានេះគាត់ជាមិនពងដូណាត់ក៏មិនដុតក្រសំដែលពីរហ្នឹងក៏ចូលគ្នា
The cronut is the hippo is a perfect solution for your cronut, and it's 5 layers, sticking a hole on it, and we deep fry. Now there is our culinary world is becoming smaller and more scientific. There is, when we talk about harmony in flavors, when we talk about food pairing or wine pairing, there's a unique thing that we talk about, because every ingredient has got a molecular weight. Ingredients of the same group that has molecular weight that is quite close to each other has a tendency to go well with each other better. So the glazing that we're doing today, try it later, because it is dark chocolate with wasabi.
អ្វីដែលយើងឃើញតែក្នុង Hipdodo ក្នុងនោះមាន5
đầu đi phaiอยู่แล้วนะคะ
យើងបង្ហាញទាំងអស់គ្នាថាក្នុងហ្នឹងក៏មាន chocolate ក៏យើងមាន wasabi ដែរហើយទៅជាស្អីមួយចាំតិចៗនេះរូបមើល
They are deep frying this behind. It is just stacking up that, and in a deep oil, in fat, in about 170 degrees, 168, 180, 170 degrees. They are deep fried on both sides until it turns golden brown.
យើងឃើញតែពេលយើងយកនេះ5បាត់ទេជាប់គ្នាវាអាចទៅពងហើយយើងទៅជាពណ៌សងខាងហើយពណ៌ក្រហមដែរ Croissant and donut.
So for your bakery shop, you might want to give it a try. You can do a big one, a baby one. You'll be a little bit running out of time, so go into YouTube and look for Ramen Burger. It has got some few interesting sites that they show you how to do Ramen Burger, because this is another trend that will be coming also.
YouTube ក៏បានបង្ហាញយើងទីហើយយើងចូលអ៊ីនធឺណិតមើលតទៀតអានឹងជាម្ហូបថ្មីមួយទៀតនៃសម្រាប់ពួកយើងដែលគួរមើល
Questions, chef?
មានសំណួរទេ chef ទាំងអស់គ្នា
How many kind of mayonnaise wasabi can find now?
Okay. Now wasabi mayonnaise. How many kinds you can find in the market? Right now, the one that is consistent and stable is ours, because actually the recipe that I formulated the recipe about 15 years ago, but I commercialized it only not long ago. 15 years ago, I formulated the recipe for a very big bread company in Japan. But having said that, because now you can all do your own mayonnaise with wasabi. If you don't want to use the ready to use one, now the ready to use one for restaurants and hotels is good because it's consistent. It's just you just use your regular mayonnaise and you put in your wasabi. I add on a little bit of sweetened condensed milk and I squeeze some lime into it. But a sauce is not a sauce, is not a sauce. I'm a little bit particular about my sauces because if I do only one outlet, one restaurant, it's okay. If I'm the owner chef, it's okay. I cook whatever I want to serve my clients. But if I have a whole big operation to run, or if I have 200 restaurants to run, I need consistency. So the recipe is basically mayonnaise, add on fresh wasabi, lime juice, a little bit of sweetened condensed milk. The sweetened condensed milk, because sweetened condensed milk is it's an English invention about 100 years ago. But sweetened condensed milk is about 60% sugar content, but it's got its richness. So that's what we use.
Missed that one.
Okay, I don't need to teach chefs how to make mayonnaise, but the wasabi mayonnaise part, I add on also fresh wasabi. I squeeze in the fresh lime juice, and I use sweetened condensed milk.
Away the chef mayonnaise thom da do yen thứ bánh dương bây giờ yen thứ wasabi mayonnaise yen tham fresh wasabi chỗ là bây giờ yen thứ mayonnaise nhưng đã fresh wasabi bột nâng tất của chma tí ấy bột nâng tất nó question quiet.
An hour and a half that you had for your attention, and I hope this is helpful, that sharing with you some idea. Can you the big ones? I'm sorry.
Is it possible to make an ice cream also?
Oh yeah. Oh, with the hippo there.
No. I mean with wasabi.
Yes, definitely. There is already out there in Japan, in Taiwan. Yes. You just incorporate the wasabi because ice cream is easier because it's on cold temperature. But I should not reveal the name of my clients. But this is a very interesting dish, and I tell you it's very fun. Because all of you are chefs, you will be able to catch what I'm talking about very easily and very quickly. I call it a Mexican deep fried ice cream. Now, how do you normally do your deep fried ice cream? Normally you coat it with flour, egg wash, and breadcrumbs, right? You take a hot scoop of ice cream, flour, egg wash, breadcrumbs. Maybe you do it 2 times, and then you freeze it. Now, the way I do mine is I do it 2 times, and I wrap it with a hippo dough. I wrap it with a dough, and I stick it in the freezer. Now, once I wrap it with a hippo dough, I stick it in the freezer. It can last me easily for 1 month.
Kalau yang min semua suah, tiada yang terperlu apa I'm donut dan cross nut dan jo sebab perlu tu hay yang min semua yang I suah tahu hay semua kun tengah ni hay mấy nơi yang min semua senin na tengah ni ni ada apa tớiជាសមាជិកខាងចំភៅរបស់យើងហើយយើងអាចលើក
Welcome to Bangkok or in Thailand, in my neighborhood. Please stop by to our school, and we'd love to welcome you and then share more with you. Thank you very much, and welcome.
នេះដែលមានទៅជិះទៅ Bangkok អញ្ជើញមកសាលារបស់ Chef Lee Waters เป็น recipe เซ็งๆจำยังไงใจต่อๆใช่ไหมตอนนี้